Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use. Tips a balance in favor of fair use. Okay, you guys. This is from Pumphrey Law, Criminal Defense. Phone number 850-681-7777. Child abuse versus child neglect. Florida case examples. October 5th, 2023, Don Pumphrey Jr., Criminal Defense, Violent Crimes. Causing harm to a child is not taken lightly. The state of Florida has various laws to catch individuals accused of abusing or neglecting a child under the age of 18. I'm already turned off that this is a criminal lawyer, but we'll keep going. Despite the two offenses sounding similar, child abuse and neglect are two separate offenses. Scientology, do you hear that? It is important to differentiate between the two, as well as becoming familiar with the penalties for a violation of either. Child abuse is considered the intentional infliction of pain to a minor. This can be physical, mental, or emotional abuse, like child auditing, like beating the children, like Wally Hanks did. Mental abuse, making them listen to L. Ron Hubbard indoctrination for hours, or taking L. Ron Hubbard courses for hours. Emotional abuse, telling them that they're out ethics, that they're banky, that they're enturbulated, that they need to write KRs on their parents or their friends. It's abuse. Child abuse is also viewed as a form of domestic violence. LAPD, how about that? It's amazing. You're hiring so many cops out there, you'd think that you'd be able to help the children in Scientology. You have so many cops now. The money's good, huh? Child neglect is a form of abuse where the adult in charge of the minor fails to provide them with the care, supervision, or required services to maintain the child's physical or mental health. Well, let me see. Putting the child in punishment, locking him up in a room, and making him use a bucket to use the toilet, and also eating the leftovers, usually bean burritos with no sauce, no salt, no pepper, no flavor to them. Malnutrition, malnourishing the child, not giving them enough water, not giving them enough good nourishment. Also making them take niacin in dangerous levels, which is medical abuse. Where the adult in charge of the minor fails to provide them with the care, supervision, or required services to maintain the child's physical or mental health. In the state of Florida, neglect can be viewed as a single incident which resulted in harm to the child or based on the repeated conduct of neglect. I wonder if writing help on a window would be construed as medical or neglect of a child when the children are writing help on the windows. LAPD. What's the difference between child abuse and child neglect? Well, you guys should send this to LAPD because they don't seem to understand. Or maybe they're in on it. It's my opinion. The following will provide the legislature and penalties for both child abuse and child neglect in Florida. Yeah, I know the difference between the states, but maybe California, maybe LA, they need a little bit of training out there. In fact, I think they need a lot of training. Florida Statute Section 827.03 provides the laws and penalties surrounding child abuse and neglect. LAPD, that means when you get a call for neglect of a child, you're actually supposed to help the child and not the rich Scientology parents. Section 2, Charlie, explains that a person who knowingly and willfully abuses a child without causing great bodily harm, permanent disability, or permanent disfigurement faces a third-degree felony. Scientologists, you guys should get ready. Get ready for those cuffs, because they're coming. Section 2 Delta explains that a person who willfully or by culpable negligence neglects a child without causing great bodily harm, permanent disability, this is the wiggle room right here, or permanent disfigurement also faces a third-degree felony. Now, mind you, Scientology children have had great bodily harm caused to them. Daniel Montalvo, the Mexican girl with the head injury just recently, Serge Oblensky, who lost both of his arms. How about that? A conviction for a third-degree felony carries up to a $5,000 fine and up to 5 years in prison. So you guys see the children are only worth $5,000. They're only worth $5,000. However, there are more severe penalties for child abuse and neglect that results in serious injuries. Yeah, but it's the thing about this is, how many of these scumbags get convicted? Section 2 Bravo explains that a person who willfully or by culpable negligence neglects a child and in doing so causes great bodily harm, like Daniel Montalvo. What was the Moxon girl, Susan Moxon? She died. What about the young man who hung himself in one of the Scientology, I forget which, I think it was a Celebrity Center or one of those buildings over there. He hung himself. Does that count? Is that enough severe bodily harm? Inquiring MF minds want to know. Permanent disability or permanent disfigurement faces a second-degree felony. How much is that worth? Oh gosh, now the children, their costs are going up here. You see the price of a child being permanently disabled, it's only $10,000 fine. That's it. Conviction for a second-degree felony carries up to $10,000 fine and up to 15 years in prison. How many of these scumbags are actually doing time for it? They say they're a criminal lawyer, so that means they're defending these slime. Section 2 Alpha explains that a person who commits aggravated child abuse, Scientology, you're on notice. Define when a person willfully tortures. Oh yeah, all the Scientology children go through this. So anyone who is claiming that they're a child advocate but standing right next to child abusers, I can't be with that at all. Aggravated child abuse defined when a person willfully tortures, punishes, or abuses a child. Like, that would be when you have like a 5 or a 6-year-old in an auditing room and the auditor tells the child that they cannot leave the room. They make them put their hands on the desk and stand still and not move for hours. Let's see what's the price on a child being aggravatedly abused. Let's see what's the head count, the head price of this one. I'll finish reading it first. Define when a person willfully tortures, punishes, or abuses a child. You know, like making them read L. Ron Hubbard material for hours. And in doing so causes great bodily harm or permanent disfigurement. Okay, that wouldn't be the rating then. Like when Lara FM got a concussion, permanent disfigurement when Daniel Montalvo lost his finger, working in the where they make all the books and all that. Well, they face a first-degree felony. What are the statute of limitations on these ones? Because somebody needs to pay for the Daniel Montalvo. Someone needs to pay for the Moxon girl death. Someone needs to pay for the young man who hung himself in the Celebrity Center, one of those buildings over there. They need to pay for it. Someone needs to pay for it. A conviction for a first-degree felony carries up to a $10,000 fine. So if somebody loses a finger or maybe they blow their arms off, it's only worth $10,000 fine, you guys. A very wealthy company or a place like Scientology, which actually is a multi-billion-dollar business, $10,000 is nothing to them. And obviously the children aren't nothing to them, and they're harvesting off all the child slave labor. My tea's getting cold. Child abuse case example. September 18, 2023, 2 women in Daytona Beach were arrested after being accused of abusing a baby inside a local beach bar. Probably a bunch of drunks. The local report stated that police responded to a disturbance call around 12:30 a.m. at the Coyote Ugly Saloon, located at 512 Seabreeze Boulevard. Another patron in the bar claimed to witness Brianna LaFaux, 19, and Sierra Newell, 20, throwing a baby into the air like a toy. Oh my God. And then flipping him upside down while they were intoxicated. Well, I called the drunk part. LaFaux was also accused of holding the young child by the ankles and aggressively swinging him over hard concrete. Oh my God, animals. The witness began recording the incident, which was met with screaming from both women. Newell allegedly threatened to hit bystanders with the crutches she was using at the time. Police were able to view the witness video to see the alleged abuse, resulting in the arrest of both women. LaFaux has been charged with battery and child abuse, and Newell has been charged with child abuse. The report stated that after being checked out in a hospital, the baby had X-ray marks indicating signs of a broken arm. She pulled the baby's arm out when she was doing that. Ugh. The case above resulted in charges of child abuse due to the physical harm the 2 defendants were allegedly causing the baby. The X-ray also indicates a possible sign of child abuse for inflicting physical pain on a minor. Scientologists, you should be listening, because they're coming for you next. And a lot of people will be coming. You need to follow the laws just like anyone else. You don't get special treatment. Child neglect case example. September 15, 2023. A Deltona couple is facing charges of child neglect after their 15-year-old deaf and mute daughter showed up to a school with cockroaches in her backpack. A local report stated that deputies with the Volusia County Sheriff's Office responded to a call for assistance from a child protective investigator with Florida Department of Children and Families. Oh, I got mixed feelings on that one. I mean, was the backpack like infiltrated, like completely? Is it illegal to have cockroaches? During their investigation of the family's home, they reported the conditions were in complete disarray with floors, walls, and furniture covered with mold, trash, decaying food, dirty clothes, and cockroaches. The family's refrigerator contained standing water, mold, and more bugs. The 2 large household dogs had present feces on the floor and carpet. Additionally, the home's air conditioning was broken, leaving the inside of the home around 85 degrees. Police arrested Samantha Acker, the mother of the 4 children living in the home, ages ranging from 16, 15, 10, and 8. Her fiancé, Christopher Rounds, was also arrested. Both are being charged with 4 counts of child neglect. Rounds was also charged with resisting an arrest without violence. The 4 children have since been relocated to stay with family friends. I don't know, you guys. Do we know the family friends? I mean, they could be getting sexually abused at this point. You just never know. The case above resulted in charges of child neglect due to lack of care and welfare. The mother and her fiancé were providing for the children in their household. Having dirty, unhealthy living conditions that can impact a child's physical and mental well-being can result in charges of child neglect. How about if children are made to scrub toilets with toothbrushes? Does that count? Or making children clean the bathrooms of dirty adults, like they do in Scientology. And anyone who doesn't stand up for the children, you're just as guilty. I'm sick of it already. I don't want to hear, oh, poor Mike Rinder, and all these other people that were covering all of this child abuse. I'm sick of it. Florida Department of Children and Families. The Florida Department of Children and Families handles reports of alleged child abuse. Yeah. Call her now and tell them about Scientology. Guess what's going to happen? Nothing, like it always does. The Florida Department of Children and Families handles reports of alleged child abuse. A complaint of child abuse can be sent to the Office of the Inspector General. Ooh. Through mail, fax, email, or online, where it will be received by the Investigation Section Intake Unit. Once a complaint is received, it is reviewed to determine the best method for handling the complaint, such as the following. It does make you wonder, though. The social workers working there, you guys always know it's always understaffed. The social worker that gets this complaint, how much do they really care to help the children? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of them don't. And that's where we see the children are getting killed and all that other stuff. Sent to the program area for review and handling. Sent to the program area for review and response. You see these canned answers? Doesn't tell you anything. Open for investigation or management review. The complaint that is open as an investigation will be assigned to a field office investigator, a social worker probably. The investigator is responsible for obtaining and reviewing all documentation, witness interviews, and writing the investigative report to be reviewed by the OIG. The OIG determined that a criminal offense has been committed. Well, I mean, why aren't there more criminal offenses in Scientology? Inquiring MF minds want to know. Who's the Florida governor again? What's his name? Ron DeSantis. Supposedly he's so family friendly. Supposedly. Always looks good on the outside, doesn't it? If the OIG determines that a criminal offense has been committed, then DCF is required to report and coordinate with the appropriate law enforcement agency. Oh, we can count on Clearwater PD. We can count on them, right? Contact a Florida criminal defense lawyer. Being accused. Okay, see, that's why I didn't like. They're protecting these people. So, but anyways, now we know at least the definitions. So, thank you for that. I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.